What's happening, you bad motherfuckers? How are you today? This is my first podcast. Um, I think I'm gonna call it Sigma Podcast or the OG Podcast. I don't know, whichever one. So, I've been trying to start this podcast for the past 10 days. Today is the 27th of June 2022. I've been trying to film this podcast for the last 2 days, but lots of stuff happened. I filmed like 10 bits, which all got fucked up because on my last phone broke, the techno phone, it broke. So I had to get my dad's phone, then fix my dad's fucking phone. It's a bunch of bullshit. But anyway, today we're here. We're gonna discuss it, a lot of topics. There's an interesting podcast, but it isn't gonna be like the other podcast. Upcoming podcast will be very interesting. My podcast. Unfortunately, I don't have. I'm not gonna have any guests, but maybe in the future we're gonna have guests. So today, this podcast, we're gonna talk about recent events that happened in 2022. 2022 hasn't been the best year for me. I broke my arm. I got hit by a car. That's a fucking long story. Um, it ain't the best year for me, but it is a fucking wild year for the internet and the world, and we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna talk about all of it. So this is my first episode. My name is Hannah. I'm excited. Um, so where do you even start? Where do you even fucking start? I mean, the biggest highlight of 2022 was probably Will Smith slapping the fuck out of Chris Rock. Man, that was fucking crazy. Man, you cannot. First of all, wow, wow. The Oscars, the Oscars haven't been entertaining since the 90s, and I haven't lived through the 90s, and they haven't been entertaining. Except when you have Ricky Gervais, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, host the Golden Globes. That's entertaining. But other than that, the Oscars is a bunch. The Oscars, if you sum up the Oscars, it's a bunch of morons who give each other um, um, rewards for film editing and being a pedophile, and then talk about climate change, and then go around in their private jets. So I dislike the Oscars. Anyway, but it was fucking entertaining, man. It was fucking entertaining. All the memes, the internet is unbeatable. I'm not a huge internet guy, but the internet is unbeatable, man. The memes, they turned it into a song. I remember there was a club in Lebanon, which was playing um, a song there, and people were dancing to it. That's how much it blew it. That's how much it blew the internet. So yeah, it's a great year. It was a great year. Um, but my opinion on that, you, a lot of people said it was fake because not a lot of people view the Oscars today, and they wanted to hype it up. But if it wasn't fake, you brother, I never liked Will Smith. I mean, um, no, I never. I loved him. He's a great guy. He's a nice guy. I remember we were discussing in school, me and my friends. We were talking about how people like Will Smith, Rowan Atkinson, the guy who plays Mr. Bean, all these people, you cannot hate them. You cannot. They haven't done anything, so you could hate them. And Will Smith was one of them. But when he slapped that guy, Chris Rock, it ruined his career. It ruined whatever career he had. It was ruined. He was banned from the Oscars for like I believe that's enough punishment for a guy, and God knows what he's been suffering mentally, but it shouldn't have happened. Dave Chappelle was performing, and a guy jumped up to him on stage, and they beat the shit out of him. They beat the shit out of that guy, and his arm was torn. His face was torn. His face was all bloody. He was missing a teeth. And that should have happened to Will Smith, but no. He's a celebrity, so he could do whatever fuck he wants, which is the world we live in. But and if Chris Rock was already famous before that slap, but even more fucking famous after that slap. Even more fucking famous. Let's talk about another thing that blew the internet. Johnny versus Amber Heard trial. That the internet, wherever you go, wherever you see, wherever you go, Johnny Depp, Amber Heard, and you go to people, what did Amber hear? You keep telling us Amber Heard, Amber Heard. What did she hear? What did she hear? What did she hear? I'm just kidding with you. Um, I think Johnny Depp at the end of the day he won. I'm pretty sure I saw it with cocaine. She was like she had the tissue like this and then she did like this and then she was playing around with the nose. That was pretty. It was a pretty entertaining. It's weird they would televise that, but the sheeple need something to say. How much money you think they make from these trials, man? People, these verified accounts on YouTube, they put they getting tens of millions of views. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. And people, some videos are getting 5 million likes, 6 million likes, 7 million. I saw a video with 10 million. These are 10 million people. Take out the viewers, 10 million people who acknowledge that. For me, 10 people sound like a lot. Anyway, it was a huge win for all the men who have been suffering in silence. The Johnny Depp trial. If it was any other guy than Johnny Depp, boy, he ain't winning that trial. He ain't winning. My father had a similar trial like this, but that's a personal issue. But he ain't winning. It was a huge win for all the men out there, for all the men who have been suffering in silence. That's a win. Johnny is a nice guy. Uh, I I I, I never liked his movies. I mean, call me crazy or whatever you want. Johnny Depp's movies are no, they ain't my type. I mean, he only has like three good movies. Donnie Darko. I watched Donnie Darko. Um, what's the other movie? Pirates and Caribbean, the first one, forgot his name, and the sec and Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Those other movies are trash, but Johnny Depp, he used to be a respected actor. I know Joe Rogan said this, but I'm gonna say it as well. Johnny Depp used to be a respected actor. He was a Mr. Blockbuster guy. I mean, I have nothing wrong with Blockbuster. And in fact, I prefer Blockbuster than other movies. But anyway, Johnny Depp used to be a respected actor, and he didn't want to be Blockbuster guy. So when he did Pirates and Caribbean, all he thought it was a unique role. It became Disney, and it became such a huge hit, and he only became known for that one role. I mean, people like Tom Hanks, um, are known for many different roles. If Tom Hanks did a franchise movie, oh, he would only be known for that one role. I mean, Toby Maguire, he's only known for the role in Spider Man. I know a couple of his other movies than Spider Man, but most people only know him for Spider Man. Same as people like um um what do I have to say? Jackie Chan. He's known for from Rush Hour. I mean, um, no, I can't talk shit about Jackie Chan. Jackie Chan is Jackie Chan, the king of blockbusters. He won an Oscar. I mean, you cannot talk about Jackie Chan is one of those people you cannot hate. He's an entertaining guy. He's a fucking crazy guy. I mean, um, let's do something. Let's do something. Let me put. I want to hear your opinions in the comments. This is my top five actors of all time. All right, my top five. Maybe controversial, but this is my top five. Number one. No, I'm gonna start from five to one. One. Yeah, I mean five. Five. Denzel Washington. Denzel Washington. He's known for many different roles. He ain't the blockbuster. Yeah, and he's beautiful. His films are beautiful. Denzel Washington for the 5. 4, Leonardo DiCaprio. Leo is Leo. Leonardo is Leonardo. And you can. I think he's a douchebag, but his movies are good. Yeah, he has a couple of shit movies, but most of his movies are good. The Departed, all these what's his name, Inception, Shutter Island. All these movies are good. Um, for the third, I put Robert De Niro. No, no, not Robert De Niro. I put Al Pacino. Al Pacino as the third. Al Pacino is one of those 10 out of 10 actors. The only 10 out of 10 actors. I mean, he's done it all. The comedy, the action, the drama, all. Um, as a second, I put Christian Bale. Christian Bale is a fucking legend, man. That guy, you see how he gets in shape for American Psycho, then goes do the machinist. He's paper thin, then has to go do Batman Begins, and then becomes like a bulldog, and then gains weight, loses weight. That man is a motherfucker, and his movies are good, and how he impersonates accents. That guy, I I just recently finished. Call me fucking hate me or whatever. I don't have fucking time to live. I finished the Dark Knight trilogy. I watched Batman Begins, The Dark Knight, and The Dark Knight Rises. These are good fucking movies. And as my greatest actor of all time, Robert De Niro. Man, Robert De Niro is one of the greatest ever. He's the greatest ever. I think I'm gonna say it. The greatest actor of all time is Robert De Niro. You can't debate it. You can't debate it. I mean, let's think about honorable mentions. Honorable mentions. Let's do some honorable mentions. Tom Hanks. You could put Tom Hanks. Tom Hanks. Tom Hanks played in Forrest Gump. I think Forrest Gump is the greatest movie of all time. I don't think Tom Hanks is the greatest actor because he hasn't done much. He has done a lot of movies, but he ain't much active anymore. But Forrest Gump, you know why Forrest Gump is the greatest movie of all time? Because it has all the genres in one movie. He sits on the bench and tells all the stories that he goes to the 50s and 60s, which is magical enough. And he he goes through inspiration when he can't walk and starts walking. That's inspirational. Then drama with that girl that he used to be friends with, now in love with. And then action when he's in Vietnam. That's action. That's considered action. And then and then and then and then sadness when I ain't gonna spoil it, but they're sad. If you haven't watched it, watch it. I mean, it has all the genres. I mean, another fucking great movie, which is my second greatest movie of all time, Shawshank Redemption. Whoa, that movie is fucking awesome. Um, you, it you I cannot explain it to you. It's one of those movies. It's one of these things that you have to check it out yourself. I cannot explain. The same thing my friend told me. I was in school. He told me, um, I asked him, "What do you think is the greatest movie of all time?" He told me Fight Club. He told me, "Tell me about it." Um, I told him, "Tell me about it," and he said, "No, I can't. You just have to watch it. It's one of those things." I went home and watched it. The plot twist at the end. I ain't gonna spoil it. The plot twist at the end blows your mind. Blows your mind. It's a fucking great movie. So that's the third greatest. And and the fourth greatest, I am gonna put Django Unchained. I love Django Unchained. It's a great. Quentin Tarantino has a very nice film. I put him as my third best director. It comes in second. Guess who comes in second? Um, I'm gonna put Christopher Nolan. You know why Christopher Nolan is second and not the first? Because he only does specific genres, mostly fiction. Yeah, I think most of Christopher Nolan's films are fiction. But the greatest actor of all time, Martin Scorsese. That guy has done it all. He's done it all. The King of Comedy, Raging Bull, Taxi Driver, Goodfellas, The Irishman. The Irishman was fucking awesome, man. I watched that. It took me 3 days to finish. I watched every. It's 3 hours because of 3 hours and 50 minutes. I watched 1 hour the first day, another hour the second day, and another hour. It's a beautiful movie, I love these kind of movies where the guy just sitting and then talking, and then you get lost. Same as Forrest Gump. After an hour or 30 minutes, they cut back right to him as he's talking. And then you remember that he's telling a story, and it's not. And it's one of those things that are fucking great, and you wonder how people are so creative. Like how do you write a script for Forrest Gump? How do you write a script for Interstellar? How do you write Taxi Driver? I'm just curious. I mean, I heard somewhere that some directors just dream and then record their dreams. I mean, if I were to direct, I ain't that creative. I used to be, but I ain't that creative. If I was to direct, I would be that type to direct people's real life stories. I would go find people like Joey Diaz. Joey Diaz, I love Joey Diaz. Why why haven't people made a movie about that guy? Why they have why that guy's stories, man, that the stories and the adventures that guy has, and you think it's fake. You think I used to think, oh, who's that fucking guy, that weed guy who talks about all these stories. I didn't believe him at first when I started getting to know him. uh, I never met him, but on he's come on Joe Rogan's podcast, and now I watch every day. Every day I'm gonna watch it now. Every day I watch a joint with Uncle Joey. Anyway, the adventures he has, and then when you don't believe him, he brings on the people who we had these stories with, and then he and then they prove him, and he said, yeah, yeah, and then he tells them, tell them the stories, tell them it's true, bro. The guy needs to, people need to make a movie about that guy, about his life, about his stories, and he tells them so beautifully, and that guy has a good memory. He tells stories when he was like 5 year old or 6 year old, man. I don't remember when I was 5 year old. Anyway, it's exciting. It's exciting. I mean, another highlight of 2022. Not that exciting. I mean, we should be worried about it. The Russia-Ukraine war thing. It's been going on for a while. I mean, the media. The media. Once the media um, doesn't get clout of you anymore, they're abandoned. They don't give a shit about you. They don't give a shit about you anymore. I mean, once the hype starts to go down, fuck off. And I don't blame them. Then they need to make money, they need to get likes or whatever. Anyway, the Russia-Ukraine war. I remember. I told them. They were talking about how Putin's gonna invade Ukraine. I've been saying it since 2020. I've been saying Putin is one day gonna invade Ukraine. I used to watch documentaries on when, where I used to watch clips where in 2018 and 19, where Russian soldiers used to park their tanks, and I knew that they're getting ready for something. I mean, who else thinks that Putin is dying, or has an illness? I think that because he went on an interview and clinching a table. My dad has Parkinson's, so I know what Parkinson's symptoms look like. He's clinching the table like this, and holding and stiff like this. That guy has Parkinson's, and he's missing a lot of events, major events that he's supposed to go. I don't know, but why would the guy go? I mean, if I was dying and a big leader, I wanted to leave my mark. Yeah, I would possibly think of something like that if I was Putin. Putin, it's a horrible thing. I mean, but the thing is, the media talks about it, and because they are white people in trouble, there are wars still happening in Yemen and Palestine and Iraq. All of these people, and they haven't talked about it since 2009, 2010. uh, Barack Obama, this is going to be very controversial. Barack Obama is famous for being the first black president, and I'm happy, the first African American president. But um, But people don't talk about when Barack Obama in started the war in Iraq and Afghanistan and killed millions of people. John Kennedy, he's viewed as a hero. Boy, he's killed a lot of people. I mean, these guys, Saddam Hussein and all these guys are viewed as villains. These were the real guys. You didn't see ISIS when Saddam Hussein was in control. Maybe he was a bad guy. I don't know, and he had bad views. But did you see ISIS? Did you see ISIS? You didn't see nothing. I mean, uh, the craziest thing happened also. This year is fucking crazy. The craziest thing I remember June 24th, a couple of days ago. I remember. I read somewhere. I'm a fucking idiot. I read somewhere that on June 24th, all the planets will be aligned and you will be able to see them with your naked eye. And I'm so fucking stupid. I forgot. But anyway, I woke up. It was a hot summer day. Summer had just begun. And I wake up. I sleep next to the window. And I'm all wet. And I see hail coming down. It's 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 raining bad. It's raining hard. It's raining. Suddenly, I we just finished building the pool. So I go down to the pool, and and my aunt warns me and tells me, "Oh, don't go. Maybe lightning will hit you." I said, "Nah, I'm too fucking tough for that." So I go down, I jump in the pool, and I hit you know that sound lightning makes before it releases. I heard that, and I just ran up. When I went up, started changing, I looked out the window. It was sunny as any sun could be. It was so sunny. Uh, how the fuck did it was just raining, you know? I mean, don't mess with Mother Nature. Eh, it- I mean, everybody's a tough guy. Everybody's a scientist until God comes into place. Nobody can fuck with God. I believe in all that religion shit. Nobody, nobody could beat the power of God, the Creator. Anyway, the stuff I wanted to talk about, but I forgot. Um, I'm excited for this summer. You know, I'm excited. I'm excited. There's a lot of stuff I want to do. I want to start working from home. I need to make money. You know, I saw an app that pays you when you walk. That gives you money. It's only in Lebanon. I don't think it's international. But you download the app, and every time you walk, you get points. And then when you get loads of these points, you get to go and 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 and, uh, and exchange them for dollars. You know the dollar crisis is getting so fucking crazy in Lebanon. Um, I mean, um, it was. I could remember like yesterday, $1 in Lebanon was 7,000 liras. Now it's like 37 lira. $1 is like 37 liras. You can't go anywhere anymore. You have to go outside. You need this much money. You cannot go anywhere. I mean, it's so fucking horrible. For fighting, for boxing, for UFC 276 is on July 1st. I'm excited for July. Let me talk. I'm excited for July. You know why? The Minions Rise of Gru comes out on July 1st. Call it a kids movie. Fuck you. This is the greatest movie we will ever see. Greatest animated movie we will ever see. And it's a shame if you're not there to watch it as it premieres, because this is a piece of history. And I'm telling you guys, you will look back on this one day and you say, I wish I listened to him. You will guys look back and one day and say, oh, I wish I listened to him, because it will be a piece of history. uh, and a lot of bunch of movies are coming out. Avatar is coming out. um, Avatar: The Way of Light. We've been waiting 13 fucking years for that movie. I mean, that director is fucking awesome. I forgot his name. He directed Titanic, Avatar, and bunch of other bunch of other um, box office movies. Um, for fighting this year as UFC 276, July 2nd, Israel Adesanya versus some fucking guy. Kamaru Usman is fighting Leah Edwards. I didn't know they had the second fight. They had the first fight, so the second fight. I think Leon deserves a title shot. He's one of the unluckiest persons ever. Um, UFC 275 was fucking crazy, bro. I remember that knockout from Chandler. The way he knocked out Tony Ferguson, he just kicked him like that, boom. And Tony was talking all that shit. And then at the post-fight interview, I was watching it live legally, of course. I was watching it live. Conor McGregor, you can't come back and fight somebody, so fight me. I am the most entertaining. This is the best. I'm telling you, this is the best post-fight speech, the after-fight speech ever in the history of UFC. Brother, how he says it and rhymes, and then at the end he says, "I'm out, peace." I forgot what he said, and the way he knocked him out. Um, the Rose, I forgot the name. The Rose fight was fucking boring. All they did, it was a boring fight. They should have replaced them. Um, yeah, and Charles Oliveira, when he missed weight, we thought, oh, and they stripped him for the title. We thought, oh, Charles Oliveira is done. But instead, we saw more motivated Charles Oliveira, more excited, more hungrier. I mean, the lightweight division is cursed, man. There hasn't been a legitimate champion ever since 2016, and since Khabib retired and all that bullshit. Um, but onto the subject. Um, Charles Oliveira comes up to him, knocks him down the first time. Now he got knocked down by Gaethje like 3 times, but Charles Oliveira hits him one hit, comes down, and Gaethje has a big mistake. When somebody tries to take him down, he always tries to come back up. Charles Oliveira did the clinch, put him back. He tapped like a bitch. I was going to bet on Gaethje, but I'm glad I didn't. Um, yeah, it's an exciting fight. It's exciting, you know. This year is exciting. For boxing is exciting. A huge fucking upset. Canelo Bivol, a huge fucking upset. I remember I wanted to bet on Canelo as well, but I'm glad I didn't as well. I'm glad the guy pulled up. I was ready. I had my money, $100. My only $100, which I got as compensation from my broken fucking gun from the people who hit me. I got $100 and I said I wanted to profit. Let's go bet on it. Canelo fight. You know Canelo's gonna win. You can't fight. And the funny thing is, before the fight he did an interview and said he would like to fight Alexander Usyk. That guy, he wasn't able to beat a light heavyweight, and he wants to fight Alexander Usyk. He would get knocked out. And I mean, the Canelo fight just goes to show nobody's unbeatable. Nobody's unbeatable. Nobody. But yeah, Tyson Fury fight was boring a little bit. I expected more. I was waiting for that fight for so long, and then Dylan got knocked out in the 6th round. I just sat down, stared into space, and I know I just wasted a lot of time. I was excited. I kept posting updates on my Instagram. I kept doing all that bullshit, but it turned out to be a disappointment. Um, but we have nice I forgot to tell you guys the Tank fight, the Tank versus Romero. I've been waiting for this fight from the first 2022. No, it was supposed to happen in 2021, late 2021, December or something, but it didn't happen. Rolly pulled out, and then I forgot his name. What was his name? Pitbull Tank. No, his name was Pitbull. His nickname was Pitbull. Came in to replace him because you know what? I think Pitbull won that fight. It was a decision. I think Pitbull won that fight. I think Tank Pitbull was robbed. Anyway, it was also a disappointing fight because Rolly talked all that shit, and I thought, oh boy, it's gonna be one of those fights where because Rolly is a fucking hard puncher, but Tank is just lightning. His punch is lightning. The way he hit it, he was quickly on the ground. He didn't know where he was. He thought he was at home playing video games or something. He got hit. He got hit, but he wasn't able to get back up. I saw his legs. His legs were wobbling. He wasn't able to stand up. But I knew the ref was like, fuck off. But yeah, yeah. I mean, I would like to see Tank fight. What's his name? Ryan Garcia. Yeah, I would like to see that. Canelo Triple G3. I knew once Canelo first lost, I knew he was gonna rematch because that would destroy Canelo's legacy. It would. Alright, people are gonna go like, oh fuck off, another lose. You know, people said Floyd was happy when he, of course, when he heard that Bivol beat Canelo, but I don't think he was because Canelo, uh, Floyd had the biggest flex in the world that he was able to beat that guy, the guy who's beating everybody right now. But now that another person took his title, I mean, Floyd has been doing exhibitions. I saw his exhibition in Dubai. I watched it. It was very nice. I mean, he was just having fun. You could see him having fun. I mean, I don't blame the guy. I like the guy. I think Floyd is underrated. He beats a lot of people. I don't think he's given much. He talks a lot of shit, but as a boxer, you got to respect him. He ain't the biggest puncher. He ain't the biggest entertainer in the ring, other than all the bullshit and money in the ring. He ain't entertaining to watch him. All he does is slip and then hit 1-2. But yeah, Canelo Triple G3. Anyway, guys, it's late at night. I gotta go to bed. I'm an early sleeper. Um, I'm excited. Maybe tomorrow, maybe after tomorrow, I'm gonna release the second episode. Uh, the, the second episode. I'm excited. Thank you, guys. I'm I'm happy to begin this journey of a podcast. I want this podcast to grow. I don't have a mic now. I don't have shit. I don't have a proper camera. But I want you guys to see this podcast grow. Anyway, bye bye, guys.